following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
This is an exclusive presentation of Dallas Cowboys Breaking News.
Welcome to a special edition of a podcast, I guess, today after the first round of the draft. And boy, what a hodgepodge of talent do we have on this thing, if you can even call this talent. But we have some experts, and I'm sure we all have big feelings in this room. Just raise a hands, just real quick before I introduce you guys. Who's okay with the pick?
Oh, okay.
Who's good with the pick? Who likes the pick? Okay. All right, well, I will introduce you to everyone that likes the pick.
I'm good with the pick.
That will be Rob Phillips. Welcome to the show, Rob Phillips. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Welcome. Thank you.
Bless me. Thank you. Isaiah Stanbeck he likes the pick.
Yeah, I like the pick.
Nick Eatman
What's up?
is good with the pick.
Good with the pick.
You like the pick. You picked the man in the magazine as your, or on the website as your.
Yeah, that's what I thought they would pick, but I mean,
you have some concerns.
We'll see. We'll see if you like it. But the thing is we need to talk about like this whole notion of, well, they could have got him in the second round. That's a bunch of crap. Like they weren't going to get him. They needed a lineman. Mm-hmm. He wasn't going to be there. And that's who they needed to get. Mm-hmm. They must get a lineman. I don't care what Steven and them said. They needed, it was a must, and they got him.
Need, must, semantics. They needed a lineman. They needed a guy who could play guard or at least compete right away at guard. Mm-hmm. But Nick brings up a good point, because I think fans think that they've got 32 first-round grades every year. They had a low number this year. They had 14. Mm-hmm. Typically, it might be 20. It might be a little less than 20. So that's why Jerry was hesitant to say we had a second-round grade on him. And I think he was the second highest second-round grade that they had, 16th overall on their board. But that's why he said he's a first-round player in our minds, because we couldn't have waited. Yeah.
I'm telling you, on Wednesday, I was told Tyler Smith had the second highest second-round grade on the board. And the highest one, I think, was the safety from Georgia, Seen. So he was available. They could have taken him. He was the highest-rated player on their board from what I was told, and I think even what Jerry kind of said, that was true. But then they went with, what's a need? Because they've signed two safeties, and they haven't signed an offensive lineman, so obviously it was a bigger need. And, Isaiah, I'll ask you this. I mean, at some point, you just need a big MFer to get in there and block and push people around.
Well, you got that, right?
I can't tell you how many times have I said on the show, on the previous Talking Cowboys, that they need a big nasty. They need a big nasty.
Many times.
I mean, I know. We just mentioned the best show.
There's only one big nasty. There's only one big nasty. Okay?
What's that?
Corliss Williamson is the big nasty. Okay, and there's only one.
No, there's a couple big nasty.
But a big nasty.
Yeah, you need a big nasty. I mean, you needed a guy that came in there and that was going to support. He was going to pretty much book in Tyler Biadasz, right? You weren't ready to replace him yet, right? You know he hasn't been bad enough for you to go ahead and just move on from that project. He's been good enough, right? It's debatable. So, but he hasn't – I don't think he's lost you any ball games. So I think that obviously you have an all-pro on the right side. You have an all-pro on the right side. You put somebody else on the left side that can learn from Tyron. Right, we know that he's not going to be around forever. So you need somebody that can play both positions potentially, because we know how valuable swing tackles and versatile offensive linemen are here with the Dallas Cowboys. So I think that this was a perfect pick for them in terms of who they were able to be able to go out and grab.
Yeah,
I said I wrote this last night. There's a lot of ways to label picks. We say best available player, biggest need, a now pick, a later pick. I think this guy almost addresses all of that. Mm-hmm. I think he was their biggest need. I think he was their best available player, other than that one safety. But I think he was their best available player. I think he helps them now at guard. I think he helps them later. And like Isaiah said, a premier position. Mm-hmm. And a weird thing too about this guy, he's going to play left guard. Tyler Smith is going to play right next to a Tyler and a Smith.
Yep, Tyron Smith.
Yeah, that was a weird story I wrote last night, where it was like Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith, Tyler. I mean, I'm going to screw that up many times over the next 12 months. 24 months, however long. Real quick, there's a tweet from Dane Brugler, friend of the draft show. And, he puts out the Beast every year. He studies all these guys. He knows, he said Tyler Smith, currently very raw, undisciplined hands, chaotic timing leads to balance issues. But he said what Nick just said. Like, he can come in right away. You hope he can start at guard. I don't think he's played it since high school. He only had 23 starts at Tulsa, all at left tackle. But that would be the hope. And Mike said he'll take some reps at left tackle. I don't know if they view him as a potential swing tackle or a insurance policy for Tyron if Tyron misses games, which Tyron has not had a complete season since 2015. So there's that, and then there's the down the road thing that Nick mentioned and Nick wrote about last night. So there's that. So I get why fans don't like the pick. Like, the raise of hands at the start of the show. I think there's fans that would not raise their hand, and maybe they're thinking about Taco in 2017 to some degree because Taco didn't play a lot, didn't start a lot of games at Michigan, didn't have a lot of production. But the Cowboys said upside. That upside never showed up. They're counting on upside here. And I think what Will McClay said last night really stuck out to me in terms of, they kept getting asked about all the penalties he had in college. And that's a problem. That was a problem here last year. But Will had a quote about he's a big, athletic, physical man that's going to play in a big, athletic, physical league. And that's what we liked about him. You can't teach that. You can't teach his size, his strength. And I'm not sure, Isaiah, you can teach his temperament. Like, we talked to him on the phone last night. He talked about, I'm a nasty physical player. I don't know if that necessarily can be taught at the NFL level.
No, it's a mentality. It's a mentality. You saw his interviews last night when he was speaking about how that is really bred in that Tulsa program, right? It's taught, it's expected in that program. So now obviously you go out and you get somebody who has a physical stature and who has the attributes that you're looking for at that particular position. But also, like you said, having that tenacity, having that kind of that dog. We talk about the offensive lineman having big nasty. Big nasty doesn't necessarily mean like just a big physical man. It means like a mentality, right? So when I was here playing for Dallas, we had a whole line of big nasties, right? We had big Flo. He was a mean little bastard, right? And then you had
nothing little.
Yeah, I know. He was mean. So Flo was mean.
Even
he was a bully.
The meanness wasn't little.
Yeah, but Flo was a bully.
His voice was kind of soft, right?
And then we had Leonard Davis. Leonard was a bully. Right, he was a large human being, but he was a bully, quiet, soft-spoken guy, but he's gonna drive you to the ground. Andre Gerard is the biggest bully I know. Right, he's gonna play nasty, he's gonna do dirty stuff behind the scenes, like all those things that you need. And then we had Kyler Kozar, and then we also had big Colombo. We had a line full of guys that wanted to fight. Like, they just wanted to fight, and they were hoping that you would say something crazy to them, because if they couldn't get you, their boy was going to get you, and that's the type of player this guy feels like. I feel like he is.
Lyle Collins was sort of that way as well.
And Connor Williams had a little bit of that to him too. Even
he did. I mean,
you ask any of those guys who they would take into a bar fight, and his name came up a lot.
Connor Williams, he fought Aaron Donald at practice.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid of it. So those guys, and you're right, you have to replace them. But I do think that, from a size standpoint, just stature alone, I've always think, man, they don't push people back, and I think he should be able to do that. I was impressed with some of the tape that I saw. When I'm watching Tulsa, when I watch those highlights, anything, my biggest pet peeve is don't show me against Arkansas Pine Bluff. Like, show me against, if you're an SEC team, show me against Alabama or Auburn. And I liked some of the stuff that I saw against Oklahoma State that he was playing, turning people inside, really using his body.
And there's reps out there on Twitter, too, where he's getting tossed around. But that happens. He's 20. He turned 21 3 weeks ago. And I'm not comparing him to Tyron Smith, but when they drafted Tyron 11 years ago, he was 20 years old. So they're looking at a guy who's young, who hasn't played a lot, but they see the physical traits, and they think that the penalty part of things can be coached away.
Because they've done that so well this past year.
Not so well.
Let's talk about penalties real quick.
Okay.
Go ahead, Rob.
Well, I would just say the counterpoint to that is, yes, that is a huge problem. They can't have that continue. Like, that helped cost them the playoff game. But if you're going to knock them for that, let's point out that, Terrence Steele's an undrafted rookie in the last 2 years. Now he's developed into a starter. Like, let's not say they can't develop linemen. And I think
they're developing
Biotish right now, and with their track record in the first round, I'm not saying he's necessarily going to be a Tyron Smith or a Zach Martin or a Travis Frederick, but maybe they should get a little bit of a benefit of the doubt for what they've done at that position in the first round over the last decade.
And I think you also have to point this out too. He played at Tulsa. His head coach is Philip Montgomery. Okay, I've known him in the past. He used to be on the staff at Baylor. Art Browse and those guys, that staff, that offense is different than other offenses, okay? They probably they snap the ball every 15 seconds. They probably have 300 more snaps than other teams do. So his 12 penalties is a lot in our stat, but he's playing a lot. Now, when he gives up 2 sacks, he only gives up 2 sacks. That's a stat that sounds, that's a good stat. You could say, well, he's holding people, or he would give up more sacks. Or they get the ball out so quick. So that's not a great stat for him that he's only giving up 2 sacks because they're not playing long enough for that. So on one hand, I think that the part about him not giving up sacks is a little misleading. I think the holding penalty is also misleading. He's having to play a lot more football than other guys are. It's get to the line, go, get to the line, block, get to the line. That's their offense. And so you got to be a little careful with judging those guys. For sure.
And then, but you also have to take into it the fact that he's not going to be on an island. Here in Dallas, he's not going to be on an island. He's going to be between 2 other large human beings, and he's going to have support, and they're going to work together in unison. When you're that left tackle, you are literally on an island by yourself, unless you're down blocking. So he's going to have more support than he's had in the past, and whether the holding penalties, that's something they have to attack because that lost Conor Williams' job last year, obviously. But that would be something that he'll have a whole OTAs to work through. He'll have all of the camp to work through, so he'll have an opportunity to come in and catch up with the speed.
Yeah, and I would say this, I know our fans weren't ecstatic, or the majority of them weren't ecstatic. There were a few people cheering out on the plaza. Just wait, because if you're basing this off who the guy is and offensive line, I'm not going to bet against Will McClay in this staff when it comes to drafting an offensive lineman in the first round. Look, remember a guy named Travis Frederick that everybody's like, oh my God, who's this guy? They reached for this guy.
It's very similar, late first round. Really yeah, very similar comparison.
But what did people want?
Yeah.
Right.
What did they want?
Micah Parsons, which you're not picking in the top 10 this year, and so
everybody wants to score points, but nobody wants to get offensive line.
Here's my question for y'all, because I think our whole fan base was on board with an offensive lineman. I think my question to you guys is, this guy sounds like he's a little bit of a developmental guy, right? He's going to start and work his way in and work his way out. Yeah. Was there a guy there, Lindenbaum was there, that went right after us, that could have started center, that lets you know what they think about Biotish, right? Was there a guy there that they could have taken that's no, this guy's coming in and he's starting? It sounds like this guy has the potential to start, but he's going to have some work to do. I think that's what the fans are like. Okay, this guy, you got to develop him. Couldn't you have gotten a guy that comes in and immediately he's
But Linderbaum doesn't fix their biggest need.
Yes.
Right. Their biggest need was guard. Yep. They're telling you that. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but they think that Biotish is further down the road than McGovern. So they need to fix. They feel like the center can be okay. Mm-hmm. You put a big guy next to him and Zach Martin, that Biotish will continue to make this thing go. So I agree with you. What else did you want? Devin Lloyd from Utah?
That might be part of it. That there were some defensive guys who fell that people had heard about. Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean, Jermaine Johnson, top edge rusher.
Yeah.
Daniel Jeremiah is on NFL Network. He spent last night saying he's my 9th rated guy, and it's
did he have a good night? Daniel Jeremiah. I mean, and nothing against these guys study, but I just think it's funny when fans are like, this guy's not any good. I'm like, says who? Says the people on the big boards and all that. And our guys, our draft show guys, I mean, they work hard to study these.
Yes.
They still look at 4 or 5 games. That's all you have time for if you want to study 400 guys. These guys over there, I mean, let me give you a stat real quick. This is a surprise. You said you're not going to bet against Will McClay? Mm-hmm. Dave Hellman and I looked at the last 5 years. First round picks in the last 5 years in the whole league. It's 160 guys. I think 5 years, 160 guys. How many Pro Bowlers do you think there are in 160 first round picks in the last 5 years?
Out of 160?
Out of 160. This is the last 5 first round picks. How many of them have made a Pro Bowl?
Like 20%.
20%?
Yeah, I was going to say about 30.
30. It's 21 guys, which is 12%.
Wow.
So in the last 20 years, the Cowboys have 19 first round picks. 14 of them have made the Pro Bowl.
See,
that's 73%.
That's what I'm talking about. Y'all just wait, Cowboy fans.
So
wait. Give us some time.
You could throw Taco and Mo Claiborne and Bobby Carpenter and Felix and Marcus Spears all day long.
But then the rest of them,
and we'll come back with all these other guys. I mean, so especially offensive linemen.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw that
good
out there.
That's a great fact.
A lot of numbers. You got to process some numbers, but I mean, 73%. And I could go back the last 20 years in the NFL. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's probably about that.
How sick would Cowboys fans be had they passed on this and grabbed a defender? Had they passed on this pick and grabbed a defender and then waited for their next opportunity to draft?
Now you get O-line.
Who are you picking up?
You think this guy's raw?
Yeah.
What are you getting?
Yeah.
It's a position that you have to fill.
For your starter at Hofstra.
You'd be walking
They don't
in.
have a team.
You'd be walking in tonight with 2 picks, being like, "Well, we need a guard, we need a slash tackle, we need a wide receiver, and maybe an edge rusher." And no, wait, we have 2 picks. You know, that's part of the deal, man. But it's not like they super reach. Back to Nick's point, they did not.
Yeah.
And this is a fact. Steven said this last night. There's a team that tried to trade up with them right before, and they said no. And Steven got a text right after that said that was our guy. Good thing you didn't trade with us. So it's not like they're just on this island reaching for a guy who would have gone at 50.
He would have been gone anyway.
Yeah.
We're going to take some phone calls. Call us, 888-855-2297. We've got someone on hold.
No cussing.
Before we get to that, I just want to throw this out there. Did the Eagles just become the favorite in the division? I mean, if their quarterback can be average or a little bit above average, and what they added on defense, like, are they hands down the favorite right now?
I don't know if I don't think they're the favorite, but I looked at when Jordan Davis was my favorite pick and the favorite guy in the whole draft. We talked about him on Talking Cowboys, and when they made that pick, I was like, well, I hope the Cowboys are getting a guard here at 24 because they've got to block him now.
They
twice
got a guy bigger than him.
And they got
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, that'll be
that tandem is.
I mean, I was
disgusting.
going to say they can't.
It's disgusting, and they have other guys.
They have a problem handling Fletcher Cox
By
every
himself.
time they play him by himself. You put this guy in there with him. What are you going to do?
And Sweat wasn't around last time. All these guys, like they Hargrove, they have. I mean,
nasty.
Let's go to the break. Yeah.
We're not taking breaks.
Oh, we're not taking breaks. Oh, freaking
We're going to
well.
just go to the phones. Chris, who do we have on the phone? 30-second rule, by the way.
I told you, but I forgot who it is. He's in San Antonio.
Bring him on. Who we got?
Hey, what's going on? This is Tony.
What's up, Tony? Thanks for holding, man. We got long-winded. We got a lot to say today.
Oh, no problem. Here, I'll try to make this quick. First of all, the whole point about not liking the pick is because of our coaches. I don't believe that we could scheme up to get good quality blocking out of our whole offensive line group, and then to put him out there, especially when the Eagles are drafting the big boy Jordan Davis. And, I just think that our quality coaches under Dan Quinn, we should have really just built our defense. So that's what we should have done, at least in my opinion. It should have just – we got to believe in the coaches and what they're going to do. If we're going to develop a guy, at least develop him on a defense. Our defense is on the rise and our offense is going down. So why not –
Wait. I hate that was a bad cutoff for him. I get the 30-second rule, but I'm just saying,
All right, keep going.
Oh, no.
You want? That's fine.
All I'm saying
Now,
is,
wait a minute. We agreed before we came on the air.
You agreed.
No, you said you wanted to do anything other than what the other option was.
Okay.
And this is turning into the other option.
I just said it was a bad cutoff for him, not for you.
Hey, Chris, how about when he's got 10 seconds left, do the Mario drop? Just give him the 10-second coin as a warning. So he can wrap it up.
It's fine. But it just, to me, that's hypocritical. That's a hypocritical statement to say we build the defense, and so the defense is on the rise. Offense is going down. So let's not fix the offense. You want this thing to be level. Right? I mean, if something...
Tony, thanks for the call, man, but I'm on the total opposite end of the fence on this one.
You built the defense. You got a stud. You got some good players. So let's fix this offense.
I mean, when Tony was talking, I thought Rob farted over there because of the face that you were making. You really didn't agree with that.
No, Tony. Yeah, Tony. Yeah, no, we're not on the same page, bro, because your greatest investment on this team is at what position?
Quarterback.
All right, cool. All right, that's all right. When we start looking at some of the other guys, all right, quarterback's number one. Then you looking at who? I mean, name your top 5 guys. Your top 5 guys are probably most of them on offense. Mm-hmm. Okay, everybody agree on that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now that we've agreed on that, now let's look at the fact you have to be able to move the ball. This offensive line did not move the ball the way in which they wanted to. They were still effective because of a scheme. But they were not able to line up and bully ball like the Dallas Cowboys' identity of this organization has always been. They were not able to do that. They did not have the personnel to efficiently and effectively run the ball last year. Do we agree on that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, we have a quarterback that had a couple of issues in camp, had a couple of issues during the season. You might want to kind of keep him upright, right? He's a guy that you want around here and healthy. Guess what? You need to make sure that he feels confident and secure standing up there in the doggone pocket to be able to deliver the ball to all these receivers, and I'm sure they're going to grab some more that they have in this locker room. So if you can't secure the line of scrimmage and control the line of scrimmage because you're going to be playing against 700 pounds of grown men when you play against Philly just in their two techniques right there, right inside the gaps. Yep. You're going to have 700 pounds. If you can't block that up, what do you think that you're going to do? I don't care what your defense looks like.
Look at the certain matchups that they played last year where they really struggled with Connor Williams and then Biotish in there, left guard, center. Kansas City comes to mind, Tampa comes to mind, San Francisco comes to mind.
And these are one person was wrecking everything.
Yeah, and my last image of this offense was Dak getting pressured the most times he's been pressured the whole season against San Francisco, and this offense couldn't run the ball, but averaged like just over 100 yards the last half of the season. Like, they have to fix it. Question now is, can Tyler Smith come in and be a plug-and-play left guard? We'll see. We'll see, but they certainly hope he can be.
If he's your 16th player on your board and he feels a need, he better come start. He has to start.
He has to.
I just don't think
he's not just a future left tackle.
Yeah, I just don't think you draft a guy at that spot if that question hasn't already been answered in the war room of, does he come in and play? Now, I asked the question to Stephen Jones, and he didn't really. He said, I don't know about, come in and start right away. And I'm like, uh-oh.
But we're talking about guard. We're not talking about tackle. And that's not to demean the position, but the demands of a left guard are extremely less than a left tackle.
Yeah.
So the position that he played in college, if he was coming in here and we're expected to play left tackle, that's a whole nother conversation, right? Because you're going to be facing some of the league's best at that position. You're not facing Aaron Donald every week. You're not facing an Aaron Donald every week, and you're not going to be facing a Philly every week, twice a year now. But you're not going to be facing teams that have multiple dominant guys on the inside. Now, you got Washington and teams like that, but these guys, you still have help on both sides. You're not by yourself. So the fact that it's a lot easier to grab a guard or grab a tackle and convert him over to a guard temporarily and him still be effective.
Yeah. All right, Chris, we got another call?
Yes, we do. We got Eric in North Carolina.
Oh, no, Eric, what's up?
Oh, no, he hung up.
What's up? Oh, man. Did he hang up? Or was that user error back there? Was that you hanging up?
He sounded busy back there, Chris.
He's got a backup. He's ready. Here comes another one.
Okay,
I can hear the phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got Eli in Corpus Christi.
Eli, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good, guys. Love you guys. Each and every one of y'all. Listen to y'all all the time. I think, I know I got 30 seconds. I just wanted to say that I think the whole thing that y'all are missing is that we've done this with Conor Mcgovern. We've done this with Williams. We've done the second round talent and reaching for it. And I know you bring up our center, Frederick, and other situations. There's going to be good and there's going to be bad, but I've seen too many bad decisions on the guard position lately to trust that a first round pick who did not have a good college career to begin with.
That's not true. That's not true. He was a freshman All-American. He was a freshman All-American, and he made All-Conference in the American Athletic Conference, which you can say what you want. It also had a team in the Final Four of the in Cincinnati, which Tulsa almost beat, by the way. That's not true that he did not have a good college career. He had a really good. He can't even buy a beer, and he's over here, and he's like 20 years old. Like that narrative, I don't know who you're listening to. That's not true. He did have a good college career, and you can, if you want to compare him just to the position to Connor Williams and Conor Mcgovern, that's good luck because they were both light in the ass. They were not movers like this guy's a house. Like just it's different, and I'm not saying he's going to be great. I don't know. I'm just saying you can't just go around saying, well, this didn't work, this didn't work. I mean, well, let's don't pick him because Reggie Robinson didn't work out at Tulsa, so let's don't take this guy. You know, I mean, it just you can't. It's unfair to everybody to just compare it that way.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, they're still trying. Connor Williams is not a bad player, but as a second-round draft pick, you would have hoped he would have played well enough to where you're okay. We want to keep him for a second contract. That didn't happen. Conor McGovern has had some good and some bad. Obviously, they're looking to upgrade that position. So I see his point. Overall, they've had more hits than misses on the offensive line. I will just say that. And hey, every 5 years or so, they haven't had a good first-round pick. 5 years ago, Taco. 5 years before that, Mo Claiborne. I don't know if that's going to repeat itself. When you're drafting at the back of the first round, there's less margin for error. There just is. But
and in this draft was bananas. Like the way it unfolded and the trading and like the run on players and the.
I told you it was going to have it too.
The defensive guys.
Players were going to be.
It was crazy. So like Isaiah's point earlier, like what were you supposed to do?
I don't know what people expect.
What did you want to take a receiver that was the.
People like.
I
think people like the shiny. They like the shiny stuff.
Well, for sure. And fans might say, "Well, how about spend some money in free agency so you're not potentially reaching?" But they don't view it like they're reaching in this. And Nick's right. Like we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, I'm not betting against Will in the first round. I'm not doing it. Just let me see. Let's get into the season.
I don't think this was a reach.
Heck no.
Mm-mm.
Everybody wants Zeke to get back to being Zeke. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what everybody's crying about last year. Zeke doesn't look like Zeke. But as soon as you draft somebody that's going to help him look more like Zeke, people are like, oh, we should have went the other direction.
Yeah. You know, this guy, if you just look at his stats, not stats. I mean, if you look at his video, he doesn't really look like a tackle to me. He looks like a guard.
Yeah.
And I was surprised, Rob. I mean, you can you remember most of these guys. I was surprised how many tackles played college football at tackle that the Cowboys have moved to guard.
Lyle Collins.
I counted like 7 guys, since I've been here. I mean, Flozell Adams was way back, but he did it for a couple years and then eventually moved. Connor Williams, Lyle, Zach Martin, Ron Leary. I think I'm missing at least one more. But, I mean, the guys that play tackle that just instantly come in and play guard. And here's another one.
Chris, got another phone call.
I do, and if this guy hangs up on me again, I'm gonna be so mad.
Who is
it? We got Eric in North Carolina.
Eric, what's for lunch,
hey
man?
Guys, what's up? Raising Cane's, yo. I'm eating a Raising Cane's.
There we go.
Chicken tender sandwich. So.
All right.
I hung up by
He's a
mistake,
regular.
man. I was wiping some sauce off my phone. I made a mistake and hung up. So.
Off your what?
Off your phone.
I thought you said something else. I was like, that's not where the sauce goes, Eric. It goes on the tenders, not on that part of the chicken.
Not those tenders.
Well, I'm gonna be real quick, y'all. I've learned over the last few years to trust this team, to trust the decisions that they make to a certain extent. I really like this pick. I think you couldn't really go any other way. And if anybody can coach him up, and it seems he's open to the coaching, and if there's anybody that can coach him up, it's Joe Philbin. So I'm very thrilled with this with this decision. It reminds me of Travis Frederick 2013. A lot of knocks on his game, but look how well he turned out to be. And I feel confident about this kid. I feel like we're going to build a team up in other areas throughout these next few rounds. A lot of talent left. So go Cowboys, and I can't wait to see what we do with the with the rest of the draft. So you guys enjoy the rest of your show. Thank y'all, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Eric.
Hey, Eric, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, they wish they all the fans were like you.
I tell you what.
They really do. I mean, that's positive.
Eric is a regular on Hanging with the Boys.
Yeah.
That's why we always ask him what's for lunch, because he calls in on Friday and tells us what's on.
Him that.
And I will tell you what, you heard how educated he was, how enthusiastic he was. That's the kind of listeners that we at Hanging with the Boys, the People Show.
Oh my God.
We educate.
coming.
We educate our fans, and that's what you get.
Now y'all show
educated.
Y'all show just comes on later, so that people have time to actually Google.
That's
what it is.
No, we missed you, Eric. We hadn't taken calls in a while. It was good to hear from Eric, but I mean,
does he ever go non-sponsor? Does he ever tell you what's for lunch?
Yeah, you got to dump it.
He usually cooks his own stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like that's how that got started. Like he cooks. He's a cook.
Let me guess. The 30-second rule is a Nate Newton rule.
100%.
Okay, because Nate was like, "Listen, bro, man, we gotta get rid of this guy." 30 seconds, shot clock.
What happened is we had callers that would call in and they would literally talk for like 3 minutes, and we were like, "Okay, we got
Nate about left.
We got an hour-long show. Like we can't." And Nate, once you lose Nate, he's gone. Once he does this, like he's out the rest of the show. So we were like, "All right, we got to keep Nate engaged." So 30 seconds, but no, that was a good call.
Yeah, it's good.
By the way, Nick, I looked up his snaps. 909 last year.
That's a lot of snaps.
And
909.
909 last year.
No wonder he's holding. He's exhausted.
In comparison, Zion Johnson, who everybody wanted, 777.
Okay.
So there you go.
Did you look up Kenyon Green?
I will in a second.
No, that's okay.
Banged up a little. Well, Kenyon Green, that I think was one of the not the biggest curveball, but that
earlier.
when he went off the board, I think that at 15 it was like, all right, now this is going to change some things.
Yeah.
And Jerry said they had Tyler Smith ahead of both guys. I wonder with Kenyon Green if the whispers about his knee leading up might have dropped him down after the combine. But either way, that was kind of the group of guys they were looking at. And Linderbaum, again, center, he's going to be a plug-and-play guy where he plays, but doesn't feel a need for them right now.
What do you think they're going to do today? Where do you think they go?
I think
long wait.
I think they'll get a tight end and a receiver. Those are the two that I'm going to go for.
In that order?
No, receiver, tight end. But if it not necessarily. I mean, I think those are the two positions you would prefer. But you know, for some reason that safety keeps popping up, and I don't know why. I just think that if there's one that they like, I mean,
which is unlike them,
very unlike them.
So is Jaron Kearse going to have LB next to his name next year? Is that basically why? He's in the box and he's a linebacker. I don't know.
And by the way, Green 737.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
They need linebackers. They really need linebackers.
I think so too.
They just can't get around that. I don't care if it's a traditional linebacker. I don't care if it's a linebacker that likes to run around. But
first guy on the book here on our Star magazine.
Still there, huh?
Still there, N'Kobe Dean.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Think maybe they try to.
I think it was because he didn't play on a defense that was very good. I don't think that the Georgia defense was good last year, and no one. I'm just kidding. I can't say it.
Yeah,
we had 5 guys.
What's the explanation? Would they give up like 6 points a game?
What does he feel? How does he feel like? Okay,
yeah, he won't be there long.
No, he won't make it. This is one of those 30, 34, 35 overall.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting right at the top.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier wide receiver. How many do you think they're going to try to go after?
Hopefully only one. I mean, we heard so much this past year and a half about Kellen Moore and his system. They feel as if, through their actions, they feel as if they don't need a traditional number one receiver, even though, they let Coop go, and now everybody's like, oh, we're going to make CD's going to step up and be a number one. The reality is Kellen Moore is super duper confident in his system, and he doesn't feel the need for a number one. So now it's just a matter of, okay, let's start plugging and playing different attributes and different characteristics of receivers, right? You have a CD who can kind of go inside and outside, who can be considered to be dominant. You got Gallup. Well, Gallup's our go guy, and he's coming off injury, so we still need to have some stuff. We got Simi. We really don't know what Simi can do, right? He didn't really touch the field much last year. You pick up James Washington. Okay, James Washington is your more, all right, inside kind of slot kind of guy that can get in and out. I think you need another James Washington-ish guy, another Wes Welker-ish, Beasley-ish, one of those type of guys to be able to get you those easy 5-6 yard, conversions, because that ultimately is all this team needs, is just be able to move the ball down the field. I don't think that Dak's velocity in his arm is set up to be throwing the ball down the field. I just don't. And I'll get cursed out for that all day long. I don't care. I don't believe, and I said it all year long, and I have a lot of film to back it up. He doesn't have the velocity to push the ball down the field the way people think that he does. So with that being the case, he is going to need other options underneath that can free themselves up in coverage. And there's not a lot of man coverage nowadays, so you got to have some smart guys that know how to find their way in the zone, which is why you're franchising your tight end who nobody else really would have franchised.
Yeah, to your point, like Chris Olavio was a guy a lot of fans wanted. Saints trade up to 11 to get him. And he had a couple different skills that stood out. He's a 4.3 guy, and that speed's great. To Isaiah's point, to me, maybe the best part about his game is his route running, and he can step right in and be a dependable guy where the quarterback knows exactly where he's going to be. Yep. And that's what Amari brought more than anything here. I think they got to find a guy who can do that. Just come in as a rookie and be very, very dependable for Dak Prescott. Cedric Wilson did that too, by the way. Cedric Wilson was as quarterback-friendly a receiver, especially a guy you pick in the 6th round, as anybody they've had in a long time.
Would you take a wide receiver?
That hurt me.
That hurt me.
Yeah.
That hurt me bad.
Malik Turner.
I was so angry.
That was my pet cat.
Dude, I was angry.
I didn't want to see him go.
I said when he got on the roster, I said he's gonna be a key contributor.
Special teams,
and a dependable receiver. He just didn't get the pub, and then they freaking let him walk. I was not a happy.
I was like, when Cedric was gone, I was like, this is time. This is gonna be my guy.
Come on, we got another one.
And bye. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
Would you take John Metchi from Alabama, knowing that he's had a torn ACL in the SEC championship game? He's might miss some time, and you have Michael Gallup. You wouldn't take him?
No, we don't. You don't need 2 ACLs on the team. I'm just no disrespect. I'm the guy who's had a ton of injuries, but that's not. You don't want to roll the dice. With double snake eyes.
Would you have done it with Jamison Williams?
Nope.
You wouldn't have done that.
Not here.
Okay.
What about you, Rob? What do you think they're going to go for today?
I would receiver. It depends on what falls to them, or maybe they get aggressive. I don't know, but receiver and tight end's a good one. I might say edge rusher too, because you can't wait. If you want to add there, you can't wait too long, to find a guy who can come in and make an impact for you. So I'd say, those 2 or 3 spots. And the Metchi question is good, interesting, Nick, because I'm with Isaiah in that they need a healthy guy to come in, because you don't know how much time Michael Gallup's going to miss right off the bat. But they have a history here of second round. They treat the second round as, we can hedge a little bit here. And
Bruce Carter,
Jalen Smith.
Yeah.
Some of it's injury. Some of it is, Randy Gregory dropped out of the first round because of off the field stuff, and they gambled there, and so that's how they'll treat the second round at times.
But
it's Kelvin Joseph last year.
Yeah, but I think you made a great point the other day that of why. It's also dangerous too. You do that when you're covering your bases in free agency, but they don't do that. Yeah. They're putting a lot of their eggs in the basket of this draft.
Build through the draft.
So that being said, I don't know if you can be risky here in the second round. Great. You were risky last year in the second round, and I don't know if that player is going to play for you anymore. No one knows that right now.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying this. I think if there is such a thing as a safe second round pick, I would do it. And usually, it's the offensive line. Usually in the second round.
Yeah.
Take another guard?
No.
Well, honestly, they do have to take another guard at some point, because if this is the left tackle of the future, Tyler Smith, well, then who's going to play left guard? So I'm not saying to get him in the second round, but if there's one in the 4th, I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you think there's a scenario where they trade up today to get a guy, since they have so many day 3 picks, packaging something up and going up and getting somebody that's a Nakobe Dean or somebody like that?
If it doesn't wipe you out for the 3rd round, I'd consider it.
They've done it before. They traded. Last time maybe they did it was Tank, in 2014.
Mm-hmm. Would you go 4 and a 5 with the 2 that you have, 4 and a 5 to go up? Would that even get you up?
No,
I don't know.
It's not getting you. Not to get into Nakobe Dean.
Well, I don't know if I need him.
You got to trade.
But
whole package.
You'd still have 3 5th rounders left, which typically 5th round, it's throwing darts, and they haven't had a good. I mentioned on our show, Orlando Sikandrick was the last guy that really became a starter there. But they feel like the real depth of the draft is 3 through 5. Because of the super seniors, because they probably have guys that would have been graded much higher in a previous year that are maybe pushed down a little bit. But, I wouldn't discount dipping in there and trying to – you have draft capital to move around if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's take at least one more call before we get out of here. Chris, who we got?
We got Jim in Pasadena.
Jim, how are you?
Fine, guys. How are you?
Good, good.
Good. So I looked at tape Tyler Smith. I think he's good. I think he's a mauler and dominant guy. I actually think he's better than Linderbaum. I looked at him against Michigan, and I think Tyler's a great draft. Obviously, he's got to be coached up. But my question to you is there a tight end in the draft that can give us a huddle like New England's Hernandez Gronk. And so that's my question. And if there is a tight end that can give us that, do you trade up for it?
Good question.
You looking at some guys, Nick?
I think page 51 of our draft magazine is going to have some interesting names today. I think 4 guys that they like. Trey McBride, which might be a second-rounder. Dulrich from UCLA, which is also, I think, a second-rounder. And then maybe Ruckert and Otten in the third.
Any of those guys come in for 30 visits?
I'm not 100%
Which apparently
sure.
that doesn't.
What does that mean?
That doesn't really matter this year because neither did Tyler Smith, did he?
No, but what I like about all 4 of these guys that I'm looking at, and they're almost identical in their size, is 6'4", 6'5", all around 245, and I would think those guys can be capable blockers.
That's the big one right there.
Yeah.
Can they help there? Because Dalton's going to help he's going to be a top option in the passing game.
Yeah. So I think tight end's going to happen here. Maybe not in the second round, but maybe in the third. I think that happens today, and I think they want to get a receiver. So stay offense and go go receiver and tight end. That's my prediction for today.
All right.
What do you think?
I don't know. To answer his question, I don't see anybody in this draft being able to grab somebody that's going to pair up with what you already have at the tight end position that's going to make a combination like Hernandez and Gronk. So let's go ahead and put that to rest. But in terms of being able to go grab somebody that can help block, I've had some conversations with Linda Wells, and I think that he's pretty confident with who he has in the room in terms of their ability to block. But to that point, they still might add somebody. Obviously, I'm always going to go with the UW people. So Auden is somebody I wouldn't be mad about. But it's like, what do you need? I'm always looking at like necessities, whether it's sexy or not. What are the absolute necessities for this offense or for this team? And I think that you still need a big man up front because we haven't re-signed any. We didn't sign big man.
Urban?
Urban. Yeah. We didn't sign Urban, so you still need a big, big nasty per se. You still need him. I don't know if there's in this draft, right? But you still need somebody to have that type of presence. And I still think that you do need a receiver. And then I think you still need DBs, man. I still think that you need DBs. You're in a league that is lining up. There's teams that are lining up with 1 or number 2 receivers, and you got to find a way to stop them. And I don't think that you can have enough. Obviously we have Diggs out there. He's doing his thing, and then you have a couple other, Brown and a couple other guys. But you don't. To your point, you don't know if Joseph's going to be out there. There's a high probability he probably won't.
Might miss some time.
Yeah. So you need to find somebody else that can step in and contribute at that position as well.
Any parting words, Rob, before we get out of here?
No, that's you brought up corner. That's another one. Like, and Jerry was asked Tuesday, would that affect your draft preparation? He said no. Now they don't tip their hand on much of anything at the pre-draft press conference, but that'd be interesting to see if. You could say they don't have must, but there's a lot of positions that you could look at, and they could go with this route on second, third round and say, oh yeah, that could work. I would say receiver stands out still to me though the most because of Gallup's status. Even if he's back early mid-September training camp, how much he's going to be probably limited. So they need to address more of that position depth too.
Is there? I tell you what, let's go around the horn before we get out of here. Last question for everybody. Start with you, Rob. Is there a position today that they could draft that you would be like upset? Is there a position they do not need to address today?
Quarterback and kicker and
running back.
Yeah, running back. Some of
the. They would be upset.
Huh?
Not upset. I would be puzzled. I would,
They got the A&M running back.
Well, I wouldn't be mad about that. I'd be fine with Mr. Spiller. I love that, but
that dude lose.
They're not. Those are not musts. Those are not
right.
musts. And obviously, quarterback. Come on, but that's not going to happen. But
everything else is in play, right?
Like Isaiah said, a D line, whether it's a guy in the middle or a pass rusher on the edge, linebacker. You could talk me into safety corner. Really, they could go in a lot of directions to help out Dan Quinn, no doubt.
About you, Isaiah, anything you would not be on board with position-wise today?
Tight end, I'll be kind of angry about that. Running back, I think that'd be not a necessity. I think those are 2 positions that don't need to be tended to right now based upon some of the decisions and people that you have in place.
Quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, it's not happening.
Even in play.
It's not even in play. Yeah.
How about you, Nick?
Yeah, I mean the same with what they're saying. I mean, this team needs some help in a lot of areas.
Yes.
I mean, and that's what's going on with the league now. I mean, like second contracts are. I mean, there's so much turnover now. So it is a lot of. I mean, even though you think, well, we're set now. I mean, look at like running back. Like we're set now. Well, next year, I mean, none of these running backs could be on the roster next year.
Same with tight end.
Same with tight end.
I mean, we'll see what happens with Schultz's deal if he gets a deal.
Corner, I mean, Brown and Jordan Lewis may not be here. Joseph may not. I mean, so a position you think looks solid may not. And that's something that they are thinking of. Like a lot of fans, and there's some educated fans out there for sure. But sometimes they do get in Madden mode where they think it's all about this year and this year only, and they don't draft that way. They don't make decisions that way.
Yeah. Well, fellas, this was fun. Thanks for having me. Nick Eatman, Isaiah Stanbeck,
Thanks for having us.
Rob Phillips. I'm Shannon Gross. Chris Beam. Thanks for
Beamer
pulling all the buttons and hanging up on folks, but making it sound good anyway. William, thanks for having the live streams up so early in the morning after you were up here all night. We appreciate that. Day 2 of the draft in just a few hours. Well, 6 hours from now? So we'll see what happens, and I'm sure we'll have another one of these tomorrow. You do another one of these tomorrow, Nick?
No, probably not.
No?
Because we started
Saturday.
like 10 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah, early days. So
that won't happen. Yeah, this tomorrow will be the draft show.
Okay, well, we hope you enjoyed this because this lineup will probably never happen again. But it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. So
cherish it.
See ya.
Yep, we will see you next time. Never. Bye.
That's true.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!